día 3 de este viaje y tenemos una aventura muy divertida. Tengo que ir de aquí a otro hotel, de ahí tenemos que ir a Carmel, de ahí vamos a estar en una conferencia. Hello, you're looking for Santiago? Yeah, that's me. Ok, rentaron una camioneta para ir a Carmel. Creo que vamos a ir a Carmel con mucho estilo. Dos horitas porque llegamos a Carmel. Carmel es este pueblito como bien bonito, que tiene como, no sé, muy pocas calles. Y absolutamente todos son tiendas o boutiques o hoteles o restaurantes muy buenos. Está bien bonito. Y justo el mar está por allá. Hace mucho frío, así que no creo meterme al mar, lo cual es casi como ir en contra de mis creencias, pero bueno, tiene unas galletas bien buenas.
Welcome to EG.
And I think it was no mistake that a master penman should follow a master bladesmith. But with all due respect, Bob, I think we know which one is mightier. By the way, Bob, if you are listening, I actually have a limited edition print of this piece that I thought you could hang up in your studio afterwards, just as a good reminder. You see, I believe that anyone can become a master and fulfill that role by first fulfilling 6 others. The first role is that of the student. Whether you enter into a formal school or you're just trying to pick something up to learn it for yourself, we all start out as students. Or role that we must fulfill is that of the rebel. You've heard it said before that you learn the rules only to break them. Well, I politely and ardently disagree. I believe that you learn the rules so well that you know how to apply them in a way that nobody ever has before. Now, to do this by using calligraphy in ways that hadn't been really done before, and that is using words as strokes of a painting, so that it wasn't words accompanied by imagery, the words would become images themselves, like this piece. This is a skull that's written entirely in songs, sayings, verses, and poetry. I first heard of this term monomaniac back in high school when we were assigned to read Moby Dick. Herman Melville described Captain Ahab as that monomaniac with his murderous obsession for the white whale. I actually drew this piece behind me a couple years ago while listening to the entire book on tape. Not only did it serve as a great inspiration for this piece, but it served as a tool for my own introspection. Your skills will be called on as a teacher. I think it is beneficial not only for others, but also for yourself to answer this call. The next role that we must play on the road to mastery is that of the expert. If you till the soil of your talent as a student, you sow the wild seeds of originality as a rebel, and drench them in the passions of the monomaniac, then you will become an expert. This become an ambassador for it. This meant that not only did I have to give an accurate account for this art form in history, but I had to insist that it should not be left there.
Hey, it worked. If you want to do really good art, it helps to use some engineering. They're not opposites. It's not you're either an artist or you're an engineer. I think it can be both, and the ability to solve engineering problems can help you to do better art. Thank you.
What we shouldn't think about is taking these technologies and shoehorning them into where we have screens today, but in each of your respective fields. You're experts in your own fields. Think about how these technologies, the advantages of these technologies, are going to enable you to have new, intuitive, innovative ways to interact with your information, your data, your media.
6 years ago, I fell from a 3rd-story window onto the concrete below. My friends who found me thought I was already dead. The doctors in intensive care suspected I was going to die. And when I realised what had happened, I wondered whether dying might have been a better outcome. I'd fractured my skull, I had 3 bleeds in my brain, massive internal injuries, and I couldn't feel or move anything from my stomach down. All of that added to the blindness that had happened 12 years earlier. I didn't choose any of it. I didn't choose the accident, the injuries, the consequences. None of it was my choice. But by way of making sense of it, I've come to acknowledge that sometimes we have the luxury of choosing our challenges, and sometimes challenges just choose us. It's just the way it is. Drive to compete, my desire to compete that got me back in the boat. My desire to recapture the pre-blindness identity. And I got back rowing back in 2001 with the prize being the potential to go and row in the Commonwealth Games for Northern Ireland, to row internationally with guys.
Estamos en la cena de esta conferencia. Es una conferencia que, como pueden ver, habla como de temas relacionados con tecnología y arte, temas de diseño, humanos, o sea, como diseño y como todo un tema humano de por qué haces las cosas. Está muy interesante. Cada una de las charlas han estado increíbles. Acabo de platicar con personas muy interesantes. Estuve un rato con personas que estuvieron muy al principio de Apple y escuchando un poco de sus historias de desarrollo de software. Increíble. Todavía faltan como 7 sesiones y ya son las 7:30 de la tarde. Entonces es un poco extraño. Creo que esto va a acabar como a medianoche y ya estoy cansado.
Is a treasure to work with. Do I have other housekeeping announcements?
With that plane. And it was my first really long flight. It was planned to be 3 days and 2 nights in the air. So I sat in the cockpit, like in every test flight. I took off like in every test flight. I went around the island of Hawaii like in every test flight. But the track was not bringing me back to the same airport. And suddenly I was facing the ocean. I had the island behind me. I was flying 25 knots. I was flying on solar power with no fuel. And in front of me, there was the unknown. Just the vast Pacific Ocean. And I was glad. And I was happy, like a child. I was thinking, finally, I can fly that plane with no fuel across an ocean. And the first day was quite technical because you have the oxygen mask, you have to climb, you have to navigate, be in contact with the mission control center. And the first evening came. And with the first evening, the sun goes down and you have no more source of energy. You just have your batteries. And you start to glide down with the engines with less power. And I arrived at 6,000 feet above the surface of the ocean. There was the full moon. It was night, reflection of the moon on the water, some little low-level clouds, and I was thousands of kilometers from any possible rescue. And it's maybe the moment of my life where I felt the best. Completely confident, completely aware. And I was thinking, how is it possible? How is it possible to feel so well in such a crazy situation? And this is maybe more than clean technology, the message that can touch us all. It's the message of exploration, of adventure. When you lost all your reference, when you lost all your habits, when you lost all your certitudes, you can be yourself. You can be true. And this is the world I have.
He trotted, a beautiful creature, and he trotted straight up to me, and he looked me in the eye with the yellowest eyes I've ever seen.
Terminó bastante tarde la conferencia, son como las 10 de la noche y apenas vamos a ir a cenar. La verdad es que así mi cabeza está... El día de hoy escuché desde expertos en caligrafía, en hacer cuchillos, gente que ha tenido discapacidades y aún así ha ido al polo sur. Sí, estando ciego fue al polo sur. Escuché de diferentes personas que han hecho nuevos tipos de cámaras, metodologías y formas de tomar fotografías a animales y a la vida silvestre. La manera en la que sucedió la recuperación de toda esta zona de Monterey Bay, y cómo recuperaron dos especies que incluso ya se creían extintas, y todas y cada una son historias de inspiración, y tengo una cantidad de notas y de ideas que realmente pues han impactado la manera en la que planeo incluso actuar en los próximos días de manera profesional y personal. Así que muy valioso, también como muy cansados, es como un reto, es como esta frustración de decir quiero hacer todo y lo quiero hacer ahora. Pero bueno, vamos por algo de comida y a descansar.